everyone, Lisa here, aka maggiemylow. I'm here with another Saturday stash dive where you dive into your stash and try and use up a variety of products on your pages. So for this month's focus, we are focusing on letters, and this could be anything from letter stickers to stickers to even die cut pieces. So I just wanted to bring some different ideas to the table that you guys might find interesting, or even just to try out on your own to get you using up some of your stash. So for this particular layout, I started off with a white background, or pardon me, the background that I chose was that black and white chevron. So that's going to be the background. And I started off cutting off that white piece, which is going to more or less be my element that I'm going to be using these letter stickers on. And I cut it down to 11.5 by 11.5, and then I cut it down again to 11 by 11. I just wanted a bigger border for that background paper to show through. So now you can see I'm just taking a variety of these letter stickers and, kind of making my background element. I did a page like this a little while ago for the Oh Snap Gonzo Letter Vacation Challenge, I think is what it was. So I'll probably put a link for that below. But last time I had done the layout, I actually had put all the letters down, and then I misted it with some yellow, I think it was Buttercup Mr. Huey's, and then I peeled all the letters off. And while I was watching and editing the video, I really liked the look of all those letters on the page and how it put different texture and different colors, and it kind of made its own background paper. So I really like that. So that's why I wanted to do this again. But instead of misting it, I'm just going to leave the letters on the page. And I chose different colors this time. I kept a couple of the same fonts. So there's the black ones and the raw chipboard ones are the same colors. And the blue letters are the same colors. I had to add a couple different blues in just because I was running out. And then instead of putting green and red on here, I opted for some yellow and kind of more of a cream and red. The red is so fine. It's really hard to take a look at the red unless you're really looking close. So it's a lot of different letters this time, but I really like the color combo I did last week for the Saturday stash dive. For last week's, if you haven't seen it, I used a blue, yellow, and black color combo, and I really like that. So that's where this color combo came in from, was actually last week's Saturday stash dive. So here you can see I've finished putting all of my letters on the background, and I trimmed off all of the overhanging letters. And then here I'm just trying to figure out which paper I want to mat the photos in. And then I'm taking this yellow, this is paper from Allison Craft, and I really like it. I wish I would have got more. But it's yellow triangles, and I'm just kind of trimming it down. I just used my pencil to mark down where I wanted to trim the paper to. And then I'm going to use this blue pattern paper from Close to My Heart, and I'm going to mat the photo in that. And there's going to be a boo-boo on this layout, and I didn't actually notice it until I started editing it. So my title is going to be wrong. So those of you who catch it, I'm just going to say, yes, I know there is a boo-boo on the title, and I have fixed it. So I will explain that as it comes a little closer. So for this background paper, it just felt like it was sitting a little weird on that background paper. So I wanted to define it a little bit more. So I took my black soot ink and I'm inking up all of the edges, and I'm going to do this to all the pattern paper and some of the embellishments even that I decide to use. and it just makes them a little bit more defined because that background paper is quite a bit busier. And here I'm going to bring in my little craft mat, and this is that non-stick craft mat, and it's been well loved. And this is the smaller one. I have a bigger one, but I just pull a small one out for, you know, smaller type embellishments that I'm working on. And oh, that doily is the other half of the doily that I used in the previous layout. And here I'm just going to cut some of these butterflies off. Oh, and I should also mention there is a sketch for this layout. I'm going to have a picture of it on my blog. So if you want to just, you know, right click, save picture as, I will have that over on my blog post. But you'll notice that on the sketch of the layout, the picture is actually on the left-hand side of the photo, and the picture that I'm using is going to be on the right side of the page versus the left. And the reasoning why is because I have a layout that this is going to be facing, and on the other layout, the picture is on the left-hand side of the photo, or left-hand side of the layout. So I want to make sure I kind of balance everything off. So I'm going to put this picture on the right side of the layout. So here I'm taking some of that teal Heidi Swap color shine, and I didn't want to make a big mess. Now realistically I could have just sprayed this stuff all over the butterflies, but I just didn't feel like making a huge mess at this point. So I just took my brush and I'm just brushing it on. And then I had some of this extra, so I debated on using this as a border strip. I don't actually end up using it, but it really is quite pretty. I just took that extra color shine and I just spread it out all over this strip just to color it all in. And then that way, if I wanted to use it, I could have. But it is really quite pretty. And I used up most of that color shine, so I really, it didn't feel like I wasted any because I did pour out quite a bit. So here, I'm just going to clean up my mat and clean up my brush. And then I'm moving on here. So here is what the layout is looking like so far. And then here I'm going to start pulling in some stickers. And this sticker is from, I think is from the it is from On Trend, and it says Happy Times on it. And I wanted to use that. And then in my sketch, I have strips up at the top and at the bottom of the layout. And I'm going to put them on the bottom of the page, but it just sits a little weird, so I won't actually end up putting it on the bottom. I just end up putting the strips up on the top, and it just kind of balanced off everything going on there. So you can kind of see it's just adding a little bit too much weight at the bottom of the page. So I don't end up actually using that. And I'm just going to leave it there for right now because I wasn't 100% sure if that's what I wanted to do. And I'm going to glue down these letter pieces, this letter background. And I'm adding a lot of the ATG gun glue. Just because it has a lot of weight to it, I wanted to make sure that it was going to stick really, really well. So I added probably an excessive amount of glue, but that is okay. And then here I'm just inking at the edges of those little pieces again, just to match everything else. And just kind of monkeying around with some of the placement on things, and then I'm going to start gluing some things down that I know for sure are going to go. So I glued this down, but I'm going to end up pulling it off a couple times just because I kind of figured out some things I wanted to do to it, of course, after the fact. But luckily for me, those stickers on the back didn't really make it stick quite so well, so I was able to pull it off and on quite easily, so that was good. And then here I'm just gluing down the doily, and then I'm going to glue down the picture over top. And I'm going to ink the edges of that Happy Times. It just defines the edges of those pieces. And I'm laying it down, I'm not sticking it down. And those crepe paper stickers are not very sticky at all, so that is quite okay. So you can see me putting this strip of that paper behind just to see if it will look good. And at this point I'm debating on whether I should or shouldn't, so I just put it up at the top to see if maybe I'll think about it later. And just gluing down these little strips. And then I'm going to come in here with this label, and it says "Life is Lovely," but it was just a little too big, so I just cut the top part of it off, and I'm just going to use that. And I'm just lightly laying it down. I mean, again, they're not super sticky, so I can just lay it there and I know I can pick it up after. And there's this little Woodland Park sticker that says "My Best Friend." And I knew I wanted to use this right away because it's two little bunnies and it's just so cute. And I wish I would have had some other little bunny type things to put on there. And I thought about some after, but they didn't really go. So I just kind of went with just the two bunnies as an embellishment. I'm just going to lay it on top of that for right now, just so that I can move it around. And then there was this other tab on that Woodland sheet that says "You and Me," so I'm going to put that on top of the photo. And I think right now I'm debating on journaling. Yes, I am. So I'm going to peel it up for the first time. And because I have glue on the back side, I'm actually going to stick it onto this craft mat so that it doesn't stick to my paper. And I'm going to take my ruler, my Tim Holtz ruler, and I'm just going to make my own lines. I debated on finding a journaling card, but I like the idea of journaling right onto that pattern paper. And I know it's yellow, and you would think that the journaling wouldn't show up very well, but it actually does. So here you can see me going to town on my writing, and then I fast forward, and I ran out of room for my journaling. So then I'm going to make a couple more lines, and I'm going to do this quite a few times. And oh, there you can, I don't know if you saw it, but real quick, there was a letter that was stuck to the back side of that pattern paper. So here I'm going to again journal, and then I'm going to add a couple more lines again. And I think I do this one more time or a couple more times yet. This way you can kind of make your journaling lines to fit what you want it to say. And I think because I've been doing so much journaling lately, it kind of feels lost without some sort of journaling on it. So I really like that. I did a couple title pages which didn't have any journaling on it, but I did add like names and dates and stuff like that. So it still had a bit of journaling on it. Sometimes it just seems so weird not having a layout with journaling on it, especially that I've been doing it so much lately. And I'm taking this background blue paper, and I took this doily stamp from that Yes Please Amy Tan stamp set, and I'm gonna stamp it in black and Versamark ink, and it's a really bright, bold. How about that? It's a really bold black ink, so the image stands out really, really well. So I'm going to stamp it 3 times for the 3 different clusters that I have planned for. And I'm going to put that away. And then I'm just going to trim them all out. So I'm not going to, waste you time showing you all that. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit here. I grabbed different scissors. So I'm going to fast forward, and all 3 of those pieces are all cut out. And I have my butterflies to the side here. Now I have 4, but I only plan on using 3 of them. I usually do the 4 different sizes just because I'm not sure which size of butterfly I need to fill a gap in. So I usually do the 4 different sizes, and then the one that I have extra, I'll just throw in my Project Life kit, and then that way I'll use it on a Project Life card. And here you can kind of see how the 3 different embellishment clusters are going to look. And here I'm debating on my title. And I pull those stickers out, but I knew that one cluster by the photo was kind of lacking some yellow. And actually each of the clusters was lacking some yellow. There was a lot of yellow in the middle of the page because of that background paper, but there really wasn't any yellow to tie in the embellishment clusters. So I knew I needed to add something else into it. So here you can kind of see me removing all of those pieces that I have to the right of the, or sorry, to the left of the photo. And I'm just kind of reassembling all of those pieces just to kind of make them stack up, because you can kind of see to the left of the photo there is a bit of a gap between the journaling and then the photo, and it feels like a weird space. So you can kind of see me kind of building up the layers in a more vertical fashion just to kind of fill that gap in. And also then that leaves me a space to put my title over top of the photo. So I'm going to start by putting my letter down and then realizing I want to put some washi tape underneath just to kind of give it a little bit of a ground to put those alphas on. So I'm going to tuck that end of it underneath that best friend sticker, and I'm going to spell out forever. And these little letters, I didn't think they were going to go because they're kind of a pinstripe, but the colors really match some of those stickers and the butterflies, so I just went with it, and I think it turned out really fun looking. And I mean, these are some really young girls. This is my daughter, and this is of course her grade 9 grad, as I had mentioned before, and I think it gives it a young and fun element. So that's why I decided to use those in spite of what I was thinking. And here I'm going to take these black letters out and I'm going to spell out forever. So yes, I realize my title says forever, forever, and I wanted it to say friends forever, but you know, sometimes when you're tired and you scrapbook, things happen that are beyond your control, and that is what happened in this particular layout. So fortunately, I have fixed the situation and it now says friends forever. So apologies, and even the pictures are wrong because like I said, I did the video editing and I realized my mistake while I was doing the video editing. So unfortunately, mistakes happen, but they are fixed. So I knew there was this kind of weird gap by the pictures, and I got this rack from Sandra, who is so awesome. She sent me some of these frames from the Pure collection, and they went with this layout so well. So thank you, Sandra, again. I just love these little frames from the Pure collection. Ah, the 50 projects, how you've hindered my shopping experiences. Anyway, so I cut this frame down a little bit just because it had a weird gap in it. It was a little too wide. So I just cut it down a little bit, and I'm going to use that kind of as an element to bridge that length that I needed to get for filling up that gap between the photo and the journaling. So I cut that frame in half, and then here, I know I'm off camera a little bit, apologies for that, but I'm trying to find a frame that I can put on that little embellishment over here or over on the left, and then I'm going to take the leftovers of that frame that I had cut and I'm going to put that up in my top embellishment area as well. And then just gonna layer those pieces over top. And glue some of those pieces down. And hopefully I can move that layout over soon. I'm not sure if I do. I debated on using that camera, but I actually don't end up using it. So now you can kind of see how I have that frame over on the left side where the journaling starts. And then here you can kind of see me just fussing with a little bit more of these butterflies to see how I can get them to fit in. And that's why I do the 4, just because I'm not sure what size I need to use in each embellishment cluster. And here I pull out some of those elements that are from Close to My Heart, which I showed in the prep video. And these are like epoxy, I'm not sure if they're epoxy, but anyway, they're glossy type elements. And there's this one that has this heart. And I just thought it was so fun. It added kind of like a teenage flair to it. Without it being overly dramatic, I guess. So I added some of the hearts to each of those clusters. Some of them were filled in hearts, and then there was these 2 open hearts, and I really like those ones. And again, I'm just laying it down. I don't want to stick it down because again, I'm not 100% sure if that's where I want things to go. And here I'm going to write down the date. This is a little date sticker that is from the Woodland Park collection. So I just added the date in there, and then I'm going to glue down these pieces. And then, what am I doing? I think what I'm doing is I'm heating up these butterflies. Yeah, I am. These butterflies were still really wet from all of the mist on them. And so I was heating them up, and now that makes a really big mess on the backside for the glue, but I'm so impatient that I just dealt with it anyway, and I just made it work. So I know I am awful for waiting. I don't have patience for stuff like that. So here you can see me peeling it off for the last time. And what I want to do is I want to add this stamp to the bottom edge of it, and it looks like a cross stitch stamp, but I want to stamp off the edge. And of course, with it being so textured underneath this photo cluster area, I guess what you want to call it, there's no way I would be able to stamp on it, so it was just easier to peel it off. So here you can see me stamping it a couple times, and then I'm just going to clean that part off because I don't want to get the black ink all over the place. And then I'm going to stamp again up on the top. Just going to flip it over, stamp up on the top, and I'm just leaving a gap because I know my little cluster is going to go to the left of those little crosses. Just clean up my mess. And then I'm going to put everything back onto the layout. And ta-da! You can hardly tell that it was taken off twice. So here again, just kind of putting everything back to where it should be. And then I'm just adding a little bit of journaling. I'm just adding the girls' names to this. And then I'm bringing in some enamel dots just to bring a little bit more yellow back into the layout. And I'm just adding 1 enamel dot to each of those clusters. I had very little yellows, and I had another yellow, but it wasn't the right color of yellow, so I decided not to use it. And then here you can see me scattering some of these little wood veneer stars just to add a little bit more texture to the layout. And then I think I'm going to start gluing some of them down. Oh, here I debate on putting that blue strip back in again, and I debated, And this was one of those things where I could have it in there and it would look great, and I could have it out of there and it would look great. So either way, it didn't bother me whether it was there or not. So I just decided to leave it out. So you're going to see me take that out of there in a little while. In here, I'm just moving some of these little stars around in that one cluster. I just wanted to, I wanted to put them a little closer together because they were closer in each of the other embellishment clusters. So here I'm just gluing them all down. And then I think I'm pretty well done. I think we're going to start seeing some close-ups. So yeah, we are going to see close-ups. So here I'm going to bring it in a little closer so you guys can see. And then you can see all the texture on that background and how embellished it is in each of those little embellishment clusters. And I think this layout turned out just awesome. I love it. I'm definitely going to keep this technique in my back pocket for some leftover letter stickers, and I hope you do too. So I hope you play along. Again, if you do make a layout based on this technique, please leave a video response, either a layout share or a process video to this video so I can see it. Or you can tag me in Facebook, or you can send me an Instagram, and I will leave all that information below, or you can PM me a link to your blog that has it on there, and I can't wait to see what you guys make. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned next week for another Saturday Stash Dive. Bye!